I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Ekans. I'm a big fan of a cute little purple snake. An even bigger purple snake, with a big head, is even better. And being able to keep a snake in your pocket and bust it out when the need arises, I reckon that's a pretty good thing to have. I like Ekans and Arbok as well. Ekans is pretty cute. He has a goofy little face, and he's only small. While snakes are inherently quite cool and menacing, spending time around people who keep them as pets, you discover they can be quite lovable as well. Ekans' Pokédex entries talk about it stealing eggs or swallowing large things and swelling up. Once again, this is a Pokémon design which revels in the weirdness of real-life animals. The meanings behind Ekans and Arbok's names are the stuff of playground legend. Ekans is snake backwards, and Arbok is cobra backwards. The Japanese names are actually even smarter. Arbo is the word boa backwards, in the Japanese fashion of using letters which represent whole syllables. So then Arbok is both cobra backwards and an extension of Arbo. So yes, as I've mentioned, Ekans evolves into Arbok. Arbok is a bigger snake, with a much more unique and distinctive design than Ekans. It has a big hood, with a pattern that resembles a menacing face. Supposedly, Arbok is different in different regions. The Pokédex entry in red and blue reads, "It is rumoured that the ferocious warning markings on its belly differ from area to area." Even as recently as Ultra Sun, the Pokédex said, "The latest research has determined that there are over 20 possible arrangements of the patterns on its stomach." However, we've yet to see one game feature multiple designs of Arbok. The sprite did change between Generation 1 and Generation 2, and in Fire Red and Leaf Green, the design reverted to the original alongside Ruby and Sapphire's newer pattern. Since then, Arbok has maintained his original pattern, with barely any difference between games. Here's hoping the HD era brings us some more fancy Arboks. As well as being big snakes, Ekans and Arbok were originally the only Pokemon who could learn the move Leer. This has led members of the Pokemon community online to speculate that Ekans and Arbok take a little inspiration from the mythical Basilisk. The Basilisk was a creature which could petrify with a look, and although it is sometimes represented with limbs and claws and wings, it is often depicted as looking like a big snake. Perhaps the most famous example can be seen in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I've not mentioned Harry Potter before on this series. As a British 90s kid, it holds a very similar nostalgic place to Pokemon in my heart, as a world I've always wished I lived in instead of this one. With the currently ongoing Fantastic Beasts series being, ostensibly, J.K. Rowling's Pokemon, and with an app coming from the makers of Pokemon Go, expect some of my Harry Potter love to seep into this podcast from time to time. Sorry, not sorry. Of course, we can't talk about Ekans and Arbok without preparing for trouble, and, indeed, making it double. Ekans, and especially Arbok, is best remembered as one of Team Rocket's signature Pokemon. In the games, poison types and scary looking snakes make perfect sense for the obviously Yakuza-inspired, genuinely somewhat menacing villains. In the anime, the scary snake was cool when, early on, Team Rocket was presented as an actual threat. As the series went on though, I began to feel sorry for poor old Arbok, forever being thunderbolted into blasting off again. Friend of the show James J. Moyles agrees. He says, "I'll never be able to disassociate Ekans, and by extension Arbok, from the anime. I'll always hear that hoarse cry of coughing after saying Ekans. I can't decide if the names are dumb or genius. I'm leaning towards the latter." Jonathan Cromie, composer for this show, agrees. The Ekans naming convention is definitely genius. What's more, I think Arbok is one of the more interesting early days Pokemon, with his hood that looks like a face. Never mind that though, there's a scene in the manga where an Arbok gets sliced literally in half. Oh man, I almost forgot. He's not wrong. In an early issue of the Pokemon Adventures manga, we do indeed see an Arbok brutally sliced in half during a Pokemon battle. You can see the innards and everything. I don't talk about the manga much on this show, its impact not being quite as powerful as the video game or anime. But it is another very cool exploration of the Pokemon world, albeit an occasionally miserable one. Not only do I love Ekans, but apparently it's quite beloved of Gyms. Brilliant and divisive YouTube man Jim Sterling is on record as a lover of Ekans, while friend of the show Jim Langston got in touch to say, "I've quite warmed to Ekans. He's got such a happy face in the original Game Boy games." Music for Luke Loves Pokemon was created by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. If you're interested and you enjoy the show, please do give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and share this podcast with your Pokemon-loving friends. If you have anything to say about the rather popular and important Pokemon we'll be covering soon, Pikachu and Family, or if there's any other Pokemon you love, let me know all about it. I'm on Twitter and Facebook at LukeLovesPKMN, and you can email the show at lukelovespkmn@gmail.com. I love Ekans. And remember, I love you too.